Well, welcome to this, my 122nd LinkedIn Live, and I'm delighted to be joined once again by an old friend, Sarah Payling from Ocean Media Group. We're here to talk about the upcoming Housing 2023 at Manchester, Europe's largest housing festival. It starts in just 19 days now, so the countdown really is on, Tuesday the 27th through to Thursday the 29th of June. So first of all, Sarah, welcome. And what are the facts and figures around the expected numbers of conference talks, events, delegates, exhibitors, sponsors, all of that good stuff?
Well, for anyone that's been to housing, they'll understand the sort of size and scale of the event, but it's huge. And we always think every year, how do we make it so complicated? But actually, it's so complicated because the sector does a lot of different things, and we need to recognise that. But just in an idea of numbers, we'll have over 8,000 people attending the event. Most people come for 3 days, so that's the opens on the Tuesday and finishes on the Thursday. We have also got a jobs fair this year on the Thursday, which we're really excited about, working with Greater Manchester, and up to 500 speakers. I think at last count we're on 444 right now, and yes, 350 exhibitors and sponsors. As a matter of fact, I think we've got about 2, maybe 3 stands available on the show floor now. So yes, it's a big thing. And then we also start with a awards ceremony on the Monday and a study tour. So yes, lots to do, lots of people.
Yeah, and as somebody who's been coming to the event for 20 plus years, going back to the old days of Harrogate and going back to the time when I actually worked in social housing, I can pay testimony to what a great event it is, whether you're a delegate, exhibitor, speaker, sponsor, housing client, whoever. It really is a great event. Now, social housing, kind of moves up and down the news agendas. There's been some years where it's been fairly quiet in the main news about social housing. That's certainly not been the case over the last year. We've seen issues like damp and mould, housing quality, the cost of living crisis affecting people in social housing probably disproportionately, but also a move by government as well around the professionalisation of the sector. And there's been quite a lot of commentary from tenants groups as well, almost saying, yes, what does it say about us as tenants if you don't have to be professionally qualified to sort of manage our properties? These things have all been hitting the headlines in recent months, Sarah. So how will the conference agenda be structured to discuss these and some of the other big issues within housing?
The conference agenda this year, we say every year that the conference agenda focuses on us as a landlord, but more importantly, the tenant and resident we serve. I think people at the event will see that even more so this year. We've done some structural things. They're easy. So since 2012, since I've been running the event, we've always started with welcome address followed by the big politics session, and that's when we get the big political commentators to come in and talk about what's going on in the world at the moment. We still got that session, but it's not number one on the program. The first one on the program is how we look at true tenant and resident engagement and how we listen first. So we've done some structural things, but we've also launched a brand new stage, the tenant and resident engagement stage. We've done 2 exceedingly successful tenant and resident engagement conferences with a lot of tenants attending, and we've taken on board a lot of their feedback. So we've got a stage dedicated to that this year. And I think I spoke to Richard Blakeway, the Housing Ombudsman. We get a lot of people commenting on our programme, government, tenants, housing associations, local authorities, supply chain. And I spoke to Richard, I'm going to say March time. And he said it's going to be a hard programme for you to write this year because you're you need to celebrate some of the great work that you're doing, but also recognize where there has been things that have gone wrong. And I'm hoping we'll never get it totally right. We are always learning, but I'm hoping we've got somewhere to addressing some of the failure, whilst also sharing best practice and some of the stuff that is happening that we are leading on.
Yeah, and you know, that sounds so good, Sarah, that sort of both sides of things are going to be looked at. Yes, there are issues and there have been some fairly significant failures, but there's also a lot of successful things going on, initiatives, projects, good practice, particularly around, you know, residents, you know, having more say in the running of the properties and their communities, and also just the increase that we're seeing, you know, from bidding and tendering's perspective around the importance of things like social value and the connection with communities going into the contracts. Who are the big name speakers this year, and what parts of the event are you most looking forward to?
Well, it's we have got our normal ministers and shadow secretary of state. So I'm great for this year. So we've got our female housing minister, who we invited in January and is still the same housing minister, and we've got Lisa Nandy, shadow secretary of state, who's also using the event as an opportunity to discuss and go into detail on some of Labour's housing manifesto pledges for the autumn. So we've got those. We've got some great political and commentators and the big economists. We're doing a lot around placemaking. So we've got the ex-chief executive of the Eden Project talking about art, culture, what places need to feel like away from the boundaries of the four walls of your home, and what that looks like in different areas. And also for anybody, I mean, I live in Manchester. For anybody coming to the venue, they'll see it's the opening day. Our last day is the opening day for Manchester International Festival. So the city will be alive. It'll be awash with some really, really sort of like exciting names. Lots and lots of people coming to the city on the Thursday. So we're trying to embrace that. I keep telling my team we're the warm-up act for Manchester International Festival. So yeah. And you know what, we've got Lord Victor Adebowale speaking about culture. We've got some great people on the Unlock Net Zero live stage. I mean, that's just come on leaps and bounds. And so yeah, the problem that a lot of people have at our event is just that there's so much great content going on. So when there's 10 theatres and 10 streams running, you're always going to miss something that you wanted to see. I spoke to Michelle Younger at 13 Group yesterday, one of our speakers, and we're on a briefing call, and she says, I've never been to housing, and I was so happy for her. I was like, oh my God, you will. The other three speakers were like, you will love it. It will be because she's not whatever reason she's never been on the list to come, and she was so excited. She was telling me, she'd looked into all of the sessions that she was going to go to and everything. And I thought, yeah, I remember my first housing. It was 2008, same as you, Andrew. It was in Harrogate, and I've loved the event ever since. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, well, she's going to find her tribe, isn't she?
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
I'm quite sure that she'll be coming back. And that idea that she's done there as well of sort of looking at the programme,
Yeah.
picking out, you know, I think you have to do that, pick out the
you
things
do.
you want to attend and get your plan. There's usually a pretty good app for that sort of thing as well.
We've got the app. We have got the app again this year, and also for the first time we've actually done a PDF version of the program as well, so people can. We, like anybody, we're really trying to look at how we produce the event. So we do we've reused our stage sets because of sustainability. So we've done more than I think pretty much any other event organizer in the UK in terms of net zero, which we should be. We're talking about asking others to do it. But because we don't do the big print event guide anymore. We need to make it easy for people. So we are also doing something that people can read on their phone, mobile device as well.
Brilliant. Now, there's a large number of fringe events. What is the fringe at conference and what's new for 2023?
So we used to say we have 60 official fringe events, and what is great, and our supply chain are so embedded in this. So we know as the media, as the housing sector, that a lot of the people that work in the supply chain actually consider themselves housing people too. So they might work for a supplier, but they resonate with the sector, and they do a lot of networking events after hours at the event to really bring together people over small dinners to networking receptions. But we've gone one step ahead this year as Ocean, because the problem that you've got, so Michelle Younger and if she's on the call, I feel terrible, and now I'm naming her, but she's not been to housing before, so she won't be on the lists or invites and everything. So we started to really think about the people that needed the fringe, that don't normally get invited because they're not normally there or for whatever reason. So we've got the big opening dinner, Housing Heroes and Women in Housing Awards, brilliant night. Hugh Edwards is our host for that. We've got the Unlock Net Zero Live Awards on the Tuesday night, reusing the stage set from Women in Housing in true sustainability style, and that's with Cunlay Barker. And then on the Wednesday night, wait for it, we have got 900 housing people at Impossible Bar next door in a huge charity fundraiser for the More Than Homes Trussell Trust campaign. So every penny is going to that charity. So Procurement Hub are our headline partners for that, but we've had such generous sponsorship from others, and that's 900 people for Rockyoke. So, which essentially, for anybody that doesn't know what Rockyoke is, it sounds like the scariest thing ever, but it's you on the stage with a backing band of about 5 musicians. So that's on the Wednesday night. We've got a study tour to Brunswick on the Monday afternoon. Brilliant study tour. Huge investment into an area of Manchester that needed investment, and it's a JV with Manchester City Council. Loads of new council housing there, but also the regen work that they've done with Vistry Group, Countryside Now, Countryside Partnerships, and Mears Group is phenomenal. So I can't recommend that enough. That's at 2:00 on Monday and open to all that wants to go on that study tour. And then we also have a sponsored charity walk on the Wednesday morning with the National Trust to Castlefield Viaduct to look at community space, community planting, urban gardens. Absolutely loads. So loads unofficial, loads official, but a great way to spend your time.
Yeah, I mean, the whole day and the evening, the whole thing every day just goes past so quickly at conference. Now, it is, as you've said, Sarah, it's a very large event, and it could seem for somebody coming along for the first time a bit overwhelming. So what would you say to somebody who is thinking about attending, for maybe just for one day for the very first time?
I think we've touched on it a bit, Andrew, but we all people of our age, used to plan their event. So we do it old school. We'd get a printed brochure. We'd highlight bits that we wanted to go to. I would be a massive advocate for that. If you just turn up to housing and haven't thought about your day, you won't get the most out of it. The exhibition floor is a great place to walk around, talk to your supply chain. Your supply chain will want to talk to you. There's loads of great sort of cafes within the venue. There's a lovely space outside the venue. Hopefully it won't be raining. It is Manchester, but we've been fairly lucky with the weather over the years. The sessions and the theatres, I always say, even to the exhibitors and sponsors, use your session passes. Go and sit in those theatres. There's people that you'll sit next to that you'll find as a friend of yours forever. So make your way around, listen to different things, meet people, talk to people. I've never known. I've as media, I've worked in hair and beauty, sustainability. I've worked in corporate finance. I've worked in lots of different portfolios. I've never known a sector as friendly and as welcoming as the housing sector is. So go and find your people, find your network, and find your new friends at our event.
Yeah, and that's why you've stayed in it for so long,
Yeah,
Sarah.
15 years.
Because
15
yeah,
years. I never thought I would.
okay. So, what are the benefits of the event for exhibitors and sponsors? You know, I feel I could answer this myself. And are you finding the cost of living crisis affecting the business events budgets just now?
So we are lucky on housing and homes and Unlock Net Zero. We've got some events that are now very established and in people's diaries and mindsets and things. So this year, I'm delighted to say housing is actually looking bigger and better than it has ever done since we've been at Manchester. As I said, we've only got two, maybe three stands left on the show floor, and that's because we've created new space because we sold out. So yes, what I would say, and this is a good thing, is I think people are really thinking about what matters when they come to be an exhibitor and sponsor. So a lot of the things that have traditionally been done as giveaways or handouts, or that people are doing less of that. And again, I'm not sure that's cost of living. I don't know whether it's environmentally, they're conscious environmentally, but I think people have realised what the real benefit of exhibiting or sponsorship is to get to speak to their audience, so they don't need to do that through expensive throwaway gimmicks and things. So we've been very lucky, and we have a very, very, very loyal, engaged supply chain that have always exhibited at housing. So just to put that into perspective, when we left in June 2022 for this year, 70% of the floor was already booked for this year.
Yeah, and I can certainly say, you know, on behalf of my own business, AM Bid and Ultimate Tender Coach, you know, we're right at the entrance as people come in, and I'm also speaking along with Chantel Seaborn at a seminar on the Wednesday morning, how to achieve an 80% plus bid tender win rate when bidding within the housing sector. So looking forward to that as always. And so today, for anyone who's just joined, I'm with Sarah Payling, the Group Event Director of the Ocean Media Group, and we're talking about Housing 2023 in just 19 days' time, starting on Tuesday the 27th. Things begin at Manchester Central on Monday the 26th of June with the Housing Heroes and Women in Housing Award dinners. So what are you looking forward to at that event, and are tickets still available?
So I think Hugh Edwards will be brilliant as a host. We're very excited about that. Do you know what? I shouldn't say this. They're my favourite awards, and the reason they're my favourite, and I love our other award ceremonies, is they celebrate all levels of success. And the people, therefore, that get to come are from all levels within the organisation. And I always laugh. So the first award on the night will be one person getting up to receive their award. By the end of the night, they've taken their whole table up. Other tables join them. It's anarchy, but in a good way. So yeah, and then there's a party after, and it's a real scene setter. And I love walking around hearing people the following day saying, "Oh, I saw you last night. Wasn't it a great night?" It's a real celebration. It's a Housing Heroes we launched. I'm going to say, well, I was at Ocean, but I think I'd been there maybe 2 years. So I'm going to say we launched Housing Heroes in 2010, and it was all about people that go above and beyond the day job. And I meet those people every day when I speak to people in housing, those people that you have almost forgotten what their job role told them to do, because they're looking to do everything and they work additional hours, and they don't even think of it that way. Their job is to work with their tenants and residents and make their lives better. And I think that's why I love that awards. And also the Women in Housing bit is great. Hopefully we won't need to do a Women in Housing Awards much longer, because there won't be any need to champion women over men. But I think we're still at that moment in time, sadly. So yeah, again, great, absolutely phenomenal awards to kick off what is a great housing week.
Yeah, and you never know with Hugh Edwards being there, he may be able to take some of the good news stories back, and we might see a few more of them appearing on BBC in the future. Okay, now last year, quite a big announcement, quite a big surprise actually about the event. Ocean Media and CIH announced that Housing 2023, this month's event, would be their final sort of joint collaboration event together. So what are the 2024 plans for the event? And could competition from other events in the sector, maybe even coming from the CIH itself, could that affect the size and the reach of this event?
So we for the whole of my time, 15 years, but obviously way before that, Ocean Media Group and the Chartered Institute of Housing have had a relationship for Inside Housing magazine and for the housing event. And actually, when I joined, we only did those two things. Ocean Media subsequent now has 10 very big conferences within their own right. They have social housing portfolio, the social housing magazine, and social housing data product. So we've changed since that arrangement was done, and the Chartered Institute of Housing have changed, as one would hope. I was very sad. I love working. We work. Gavin Smart, the chief exec of Chartered Institute of Housing, is a great person to work alongside, and his policy team of James and Rachel are phenomenal to know, and most people will know them. What we are doing, what Ocean are doing, is housing has actually always been a really broad church. We this year, as always, and so this isn't anything new. This year we will have what we will do policy work with DLUC, DESNES, I'm not allowed to call them that, Homes England taking a big stand in the foyer, huge work around being able to discuss their new strategic plan with our audience. We've got British Property Federation, we've got Royal Tile Planning Institute, we've got Town and Country Planning Associate. We've always welcomed everybody, and actually that's always been the strength of housing. I remember when I was on to comment at MHCLG, the chief planner there, Steve Quartermain, at the time said to me, why can't housing just be for everybody? Why do you have to work with just one member body? And I said, actually, it's always been for everybody. So that's what we will be doing. And just in context to that, the Chartered Institute of Housing have always had their own events. So I would imagine that they would do that still, but what we would want to do is carry on making it that place for everyone, for shelter, for tarot, for TPAS, for everyone. I will have forgotten somebody there, but that's what we've always been about.
Great. Well, it sounds like the event has still got a really good future, and it will, probably grow in different directions and continue to still be, a fixture for people involved in housing in all the different guises. Now, AM Bid and Ultimate Tender Coach, we also exhibit at the Homes event in London Excel, November time. How are plans for this event shaping up, and will there be anything new happening here this year?
Again, I'm delighted to say that that event was our biggest event that we've ever done last year, 2022, and is looking to eclipse that in 2023. Homes was always, probably internally and externally, always seen as a bit sort of like the younger brother or stroke sister to housing, and I think having its own raison d'etre with the Unlock Net Zero Live added to it really gave it a new sense of purpose last year. one of the big things that we've done with the sector, Inside Housing, our colleagues across the way, they do a lot of work looking at risk of to the sector, and one of the biggest things that have come out, and is not dissimilar to other sectors at the moment, is around recruitment and retention, not least helped by some of the news stories that have been going on as well in the wider press. So we have worked with the Northwest and now the Greater London area on doing some jobs fairs to attract people into our sector, and we think, and it was actually not my idea. I'm sad to say it was actually the HR director at Great Places Housing Group that had the idea, and she said, what better way to show people what we are all about than bringing new recruits to something like housing, to show them the whole scope of what we do, and similarly for homes and Unlock Net Zero. So those are both new things, and we're doing them so to attract a whole new group of people into our world, and also look at local employment, look at new apprenticeships, look at getting tenants and residents into new roles. So it also feels like the right thing to do in terms of social value as well.
Yeah, and that sounds really exciting about getting young people involved, and you're going to be doing that at Manchester and also at London, because I think most of us, I stumbled into working in housing 30 years ago, and I think most people that has been their experience, whereas perhaps now it'll be more people choosing it as a destination of choice, intentional career path, let's say. That would be really good. So another question for you is, I mean, there's a lot of virtual events these days. There's a lot of people sort of got used to just working remotely and working from home. Why are in-person events still such a good idea and still so popular?
I think there's nothing like an in-person event. I love my team are already really excited about getting on site at housing. They know, I mean, for everybody that attends, it's hard work. For us, for the team running it, I can't tell you. I mean, I have these inordinately early team briefings, which my team go, oh my God, not 7 o'clock again, Sarah. But we're on site. We're working pretty much from 7 a.m. till until midnight each day while we're there. But we love it. We absolutely love it. We love our customers. We love our delegates. We love our visitors. We love the sense of sort of like being there again. And yet we do monthly webinars still, which are getting still 500 pre-registered to them every month on our Unlock Net Zero portfolio. And Andrew, you're saying had a really good registrations for this LinkedIn. I think there's a place for both. I really, really do. I think anything that's more than 2 hours looking at your screen is not fun. We found that out during COVID, but there is still a great use for smaller bite-sized sessions online that you don't have to travel to. I don't think we'll ever do an advisory board ever again in person. We used to do them always in London. Why we drag people from Glasgow down to London for an advisory board? I mean, it seems insane now to think of that. But yeah, but then smiling, chatting, those wonderful conversations, the laughter just happens so much more naturally when you're on site together.
Yeah, absolutely. So look forward to catching up with you as always. And whether it rains or whether the sun shines, and we hope the sun's shining, but you know what, it's going to be shining inside the venue anyway, because there'll just be that buzz of a really great event, and the sector in all its different guises all sort of coming together as well. So thank you very much, Sarah, for another very brilliant interview, and really scene setter for Housing 2023.
Thanks. Thank you.